Howdy, music fans. Thanks for joining me today. I am doing a contest for Rod over at Happy Hippy, the vinyl guy, who recently sent me some VCLT. He's got a great channel. He's doing this contest to say thank you to his, I think, 500 or 400 subscribers. So, really cool. Way to go, Rod. And I'm going to get right into it. He wants us to show an album by a band and then an album by a solo artist from that band. And he doesn't want us to repeat anybody out of the same band. And if we do 5, we get 1 entry. If we do 10, we get 2 entries. If we do 15, we get 3 entries. I'm guessing you can bet how many I'm going to do. Let's get started. I think I'm going to do it kind of randomly. I'm not going to do necessarily the band first and then the artist first. I'm going to do it however I stacked it up here. It might be the artist first. It might be the band first. Who knows? All right, the first one I see, Murray Hammond. You probably have no idea who Murray Hammond is. And this album is called I Don't Know Where I'm Going, But I'm On My Way. Maybe a line from Paul Simon. And this is a great little album. It's mostly acoustic. It's very train themed. And it's got some covers, some old-time covers like the Great Atomic Power or whatever it is. And then there's some other ones as well, but he's got some originals, I believe, on here. And then there's some real slow kind of dirgy stuff with a kind of a synthesizer or organ or something, but very wispy and acoustic and old-timey sounding. Not too much real upbeat stuff on here. A couple things are kind of have a nice groove, but anyway, he plays bass and sings in the old 97s, who I should do a video on. This is called Too Far to Care, and many people think it's their opus, their greatest album. So, old 97s, this is a rollicking romp through crazy country punk rock, insurgent country, fantastic writing and fantastic guitar playing and crazy speed drumming and just a great band. All right, that's one. Next, I'm doing Charlie Leuven. Sings murder ballads and disaster songs. So these are, of course, mostly old-time songs. See if I recognize any. Dark as a Dungeon, of course. And Darling Corey, Wreck of the Old 97. Yeah, Wreck on the Highway, a whole bunch of well-known ones. And he was in the wicked and insane, crazy brother duo, the Leuven Brothers. Tragic Songs of Life right here. Beautiful harmonies. They have that brothers thing going on, like the Delmore brothers and the Monroe brothers and the Osborne brothers and so many brothers in this genre, the Wilburn brothers. Anyway, the Leuven brothers and Charlie Leuven. Next, this I want to do the band first. I notice I've had the artist first on all of these so far. Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys. A lot of people came through this band. A lot of big names came through this band and ended up having a career of their own. And I'm going to pick Del McCoury. This is called Don't Stop the Music, and it's the only one I could find where it doesn't showcase him and his family as the band or the Dixie Pals as the band. So it just says Del McCoury. So I'm going with that one. Great bluegrass player and a really sweet guy. I've met him once, maybe twice. Just fantastic singer, fantastic player. Picked some choice covers too. He did Richard Thompson's what is it? Black Lightning song about the motorbike. God, I can't remember the name of it now, but 1951 Black Lightning or whatever it's called. I know somebody will tell me. Anyway, I can't believe I don't remember it. But anyway, next is going to be the Stanley Brothers and the Clinch Mountain Boys. Ralph and Carter Stanley, one of the greatest bluegrass duos. Well, okay, the greatest bluegrass duo of all time. Speaking of brothers, absolutely love the Stanley Brothers. They're fantastic, and this is a wonderful set if you want to start somewhere inexpensive but with a lot of material. It's a great 2 CD set. The Mercury years, I believe this is, complete Mercury recordings. Wonderful set. And who came out of that after, sadly, Carter Stanley died? Ralph Stanley trudged on and became Ralph Stanley and the Clinch Mountain Boys, and also did stuff with Jimmy Martin and his own solo CDs and lots of CDs with lots of guest stars. This is called Bound to Ride, and it's a great collection also if you just want to dip your toe off of Rebel Records. If you want to dip your toe into a little bit of Ralph Stanley, this is a great place to start. Next, the Rising Suns blues band, fantastic band that spawned two incredible artists, and I'm going to showcase just one, and that's Ry Cooder. And this is election special. The CD is in the car right now, but I absolutely love this album. It's a short one. It's 9 songs. It's all political, but it is just so good. Really rocking songs, really great blues songs. A funny song about Mitt Romney's dog. It's called Mutt Romney Blues. The Wall Street part of town is excellent. Guantanamo is excellent. Going to Tampa is great. Kool-Aid, the 90 and the 9. Take Your Hands Off It, meaning take your hands off my Constitution. The Constitution. So really, really fantastic album. Next, Commander Cody and the Lost Planet Airmen, Western swing, hillbilly bop, country, rock and roll from the early 70s and late 60s. This is called Lost in the Ozone, and it's got 20 Flight Rock, the old Eddie Cochran song, and lots of other great stuff on here. Family Bible, and Seeds and Stems, of course, was one of their big ones, and Hot Rod Lincoln was one of their big ones. So speaking of Hot Rod Lincoln, somebody who came out of that band who I know personally, or used to know personally, used to set up shows for him, and have gone to see him many times, and Bill Kirchen, Have Love, Will Travel. And this is probably my favorite Bill Kirchen album. It's one of the top 2 or 3. This one has Womb to the Tomb, which is probably one of my favorite songs, and his version of What's the Matter with the Mill, an old country traditional blues song, and he does a really fast rockin' version of it. It's really great. This whole album is fantastic. Next, the Dirty Knobs is a band by Mike Campbell. Mike Campbell project, and Mike Campbell is just one of the greatest guitar shredders without being a guitar shredder that I've ever heard, and one of my favorite guitar players. This came out last year, and it's a great record. So Mike Campbell from the Dirty Knobs came out of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and of course this is one of Tom Petty's opuses. Everybody knows this album inside and out. That's the 2 CD deluxe version. Next we have Joan Jet album, my favorite album by Joan Jet. And this is just a great album. It has Fake Friends, one of my favorite Joan Jett songs, and Handyman is fantastic, and her version of Starfucker by the Rolling Stones is great. 100 Feet Away. The French song is fantastic. Her version of Everyday People is great. Great album. And she came out of a little band called The Runaways, who billed themselves as the Queens of Noise, on this album at least. And this is their first or second album. I believe it's their second album. Yeah. Next, we have a little fella named John Fogarty. I'm going to do a video on John Fogarty soon. And this is a really fantastic album. It's his first solo album. It's got Rockin' All Over the World and Almost Saturday Night, which are incredible songs, but the whole album is good. He does a version of Lonely Teardrops and Sea Cruise. Okay, we can do it. We'll be done with that song, but it's okay. Where the River Flows is really beautiful. You Rascal You is an old tune, and that's a really good one. The Wall, Travelin' High is really great. Flying Away, Dream Song. I mean, it's just a really solid album. And he came out of a little band called Creedence Clearwater Revival. This is Willie and the Poor Boys, my favorite Creedence album. Next, this band did spawn a couple of fantastic, incredible artists, and I'm going to pick Dave Edmunds, DE 7th. Maybe his best album, one of his best, certainly. It's got From Small Things, Big Things One Day Come, which is a song Bruce Springsteen gave to him. It's got Me and the Boys, Girls Night Out. It's got Louisiana Man, which is fantastic. Warmed Over Kisses, Leftover Love, Deep in the Heart of Texas. He really explores his rockin' countryside and always his rock and roll side. Just a great album. And he came out of the band, well, one of the bands he came out of was Rockpile, with another very famous, incredible songwriter and great singer and player out of that too. Okay, so that's that. Now we're going to get into some, this one's a pretty fancy one. This is just great. If you know Nico Case or are a Nico Case fan, she is on Bloodshot Records. She's fantastic. This is my favorite album of hers by far, The Virginian. I volunteered at Bloodshot for a couple weeks in February. That's when I vacationed there. That's how nuts I am about Bloodshot. And they let me work on one of her albums, doing some research for copyright stuff, and it was Furnace Room Lullaby, I think, which was two albums after this, or I think, yeah, something like, or one album. It was either the next one or the one after. Anyway, this is my favorite, and those three in general I like, and then I start to drop off for me. But she was in a little band called Mao, The Unforgiving Sounds of Mao, and guess what she did in Mao? She played drums. They are a punk rock, poppy, crazy, goofy band. She sings at least 4 tracks on here. Let's see if we can find her. Which one is she? Yeah, good Lord. I think she's this one here. She's one of these people that looks different in every picture you see her in. But Nico Case was in this band called Mao, and she sings at least 4 songs on here and played drums. And it's pretty cool. There she is. That's Nico for sure, right there. So if you like Nico Case, you might like this. This is very different from her solo stuff. Next, a little band called The Who. And The Who spawned lots of great solo material from several of its members. And I'm going to pick a really bizarre one that you may or may not know of. If you watch my recent finds videos, you may have seen this. But this is a Keith Moon album. Can you believe that? It's a Keith Moon album. Is that nutty or what? And he sings, it's called Two Sides of the Moon. I don't know if he writes these songs. I don't remember. Ringo Starr is on this, a couple of tracks. And I listened to this when I bought it, and I remember liking it quite a bit, and it was a good little rock and roll album. Pretty cool. Keith Moon, Two Sides of the Moon. Next, Georgia Satellites. Their first album, their debut, just called Georgia Satellites with Keep Your Hands to Yourself. But more importantly, it had Battleship Chains, and it has Every Picture Tells a Story too. But Can't Stand the Pain, Golden Light. I mean, God, everything on this is fantastic. Railroad Steel is great. The Myth of Love, everything on this album is just a solid rock and roll album. And you guys know, if you watch my Unsung Heroes videos, that I'm an enormous Dan Baird fan, and he came out of Georgia Satellites. He was their main singer and I believe writer and one of their guitar players for sure. This is his second solo album, and it is probably the one you see the most. And it had that song, The One I Am, and there's another one, I Love You Period, was another one that kind of got some radio play about being in love with his teacher. And this whole album is great. I love every song on it. It's just an amazing album. My favorites are probably Knocked Up and Julie and Lucky, but the entire album is just great. Dixie Borderland is great. Lost Highway is great. Pick Up the Knife. Everything's great. All right. I did a video on these guys recently. The Blasters collection, and I was flabbergasted that I found that I didn't actually have this still. And so I picked this up recently. And out of the Blasters came Dave Alvin, one of the great Americana singer-songwriters, guitar players of all time. Great artist in that movement, and very prolific, and great writer, great guitar picker, finger picker, and electric player. Just great. And last but not least, Rod did one of this band as well. One of my favorites, The Faces. Notice I'm steering clear of all the major, big, obvious ones that would be obvious, especially for me. But I'm doing The Faces, and this is all of their albums and a bonus disc on this set. And I basically could do any member of The Faces. The only one that I don't know that they did a solo album maybe is Kenny Jones, but he did go on to play with The Who for many years. So. And Rod picked Ronnie Wood, and of course there's Rod Stewart, and there's Ronnie Lane, and I could have done any of them, but I'm picking Ian Mclogan because I want to do a video on him eventually. Best of British, Ian Mclogan and the Bump Band. Amazing. Shockingly amazing. He was the piano player in The Faces, and I can't believe how good his solo albums are. I am shocked at how good they are. Just straight rock and roll. I mean, it's like, was he the heart of The Faces, or was Ron Wood the heart of I mean, they were such a great band. It's just amazing. His albums are just straight, great rock and roll. Anyway, that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.